Good afternoon. Welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 15th of April. We do have a 9-game main slate on DraftKings. No weather to worry about, no real wind issues or anything on the main slate. We have a game going on in Boston right now, but this is all about the main slate. And if this is the first time you're checking out my video, it's kind of a first look at pitching options. I focus primarily on DraftKings since that's where a majority of my action is. If you want to use it for FanDuel, just realize that my FanDuel pitching pool is about half the size of my DraftKings one. I don't think we have to get too creative on FanDuel with pitching, and I try to stick to the top few plays on a particular slate. We do have some interesting pitching options. We have some obvious choices, and then maybe a couple guys that we might sneak into our pool, depending on how things come together. The obvious on the slate is Tyler Glasnow, a minus 360 favorite, K prop of 9.5. Uh, just a big time chalk spot, coming off of a career high 14 strikeout performance. I think he is going to be the highest owned for good reason. I will be all about him. I'll be slightly overweight on the field, just because that's what I tend to do with all of my pitching. Is try to go over a projected ownership number. Uh, I do have a little worry, at least compared to last year's numbers. I know Washington wasn't really that big of a strikeout team last year. I haven't looked at their updated numbers to begin this season. Uh, but again, it's just such a great spot, and Glasnow has elite upside that I can't really pass on it. Next few names going down are all names that I think you can take or leave. Uh, I think as I read more throughout the industry, I might end up more on Merrill Kelly. I think people are kind of looking away because of the Cubs' offense. Um, Cubs have put up some runs, at times this season, but I think Merrill Kelly is a strong option for GPP purposes with his upside. K's haven't been there the last two starts, but he was really strong against a very tough Yankees offense. Two of his three starts have come at home. I think he's a sneaky option for us. He's a minus 148 favorite. K prop of 6.5, which I believe is tied for second on the entire slate. So that K prop is pretty strong. I think people are going to overlook him. So for me, I think he's somebody that really needs to end up in the GPP pool. Uh, Again, that could change as I dig into some more numbers. And I won't be afraid to remove him if there's something that really stands out the other way. But for now, I think he's going to make my pool. Definitely over Musgrove. I'm not using Musgrove. Not picking on the Brewers, even though I don't think the team is as good as they've shown. Musgrove hasn't been very good yet this season. So I'm just not going to go there. If Musgrove beats me, he beats me. Especially because Sonny Gray's cheaper, Seth Lugo is cheaper. Both have very strong matchups. This Montas versus Kirby matchup is very interesting. Kirby has a K prop of 6.5, Montas a 5.5. Seattle and Kirby's a minus 148 favorite. This game has the lowest game total on the slate at just 7 right now. Montas has shown better so far this year. It's not striking out a ton of guys, but we do know that Seattle strikes out a ton. So the numbers are definitely going to lean a little more towards Montas. I'm looking at George Kirby at maybe being a sneaky option. Dominated Boston to begin the season. Last two starts haven't been strong. Cincinnati does have some Ks in the lineup. They do have a potent offense, but I think Kirby at home is really interesting. And I've already seen some rumblings about people looking to fade him just because they don't like the way that he's thrown the last couple matchups. Uh, if I see more and more about people wanting to fade him, it's only going to want to make me go higher on my ownership. So, these top, I guess we'll look at the 8K and above guys. I'm not looking at Bassett, not looking at Crochet, not looking at Musgrove. I would put it Glasnow, Kelly Kirby, Lugo Gray, and Montes. Um, the reason I have Lugo and Gray lower is I don't know if they have the same kind of upside, as these top guys do. Sonny Gray coming back from his spring training injury, threw 64 pitches in his debut. Extra day of rest. We could probably think that he's going to throw 80 to 85 pitches, so he should be decent. Lugo just doesn't have a ton of K upside. He's just has such a great matchup that I think he's kind of safe for us in this spot. Um, so that's kind of why they fall on the lower end of this 8K and above ranking for me. But again, we're looking at fading, Musgrove for sure. I'm going to be fading Bassett against the Yankees, even though he looked great against Seattle. But that's a lineup we've been picking on with pitching. I'm just not jumping on the Crochet train. It's just strikeout 10. 2 starts ago against this Kansas City squad, he was solid. Uh, but I'm not really a long term believer in him as a starter. Maybe it's a hot take, considering he struck out 8+ in 3 of his 4 starts this season. But to me, there's a lot more question marks in him than just looking at those performances. So, that's kind of the top half of our pitching. Once we scroll down, we're really losing out on options. Uh, Not really interested in Vines against the Astros. Uh, he's shown some ability, but I don't think we want to go there. Um, I do have some interest here in Martin Perez. Feels dirty. He's normally not much of a strikeout guy, but he does have 13 over his last 14 and 2/3. Mets offense kind of blah. He's a slight road dog. Game total 8.5. Nothing. I mean, that's probably one of the higher ones, but still, it's not anything extreme. K prop is just 3.5, but I think he's somebody that can make the pool. Uh, Maybe as a 10 to 15% type play. Luis Heel, I am interested, but he's throwing a lot of balls, a lot of walks. That is kind of a scary situation to get involved in. K prop of 5.5. Definitely interesting, but game total is not at a 9 right now, and he's actually a slight underdog. Um, I think people might still look at him because Toronto did have a few rough performances. Uh, but to be honest, I would rather use Martin Perez. Uh, I might even rather use Joe Ross. I don't know. Like, I have to dig into Ross. I haven't used him yet this year. He's coming off a really strong start against Cincinnati. Was solid against Minnesota, but walks were an issue. Pitch totals are up there. San Diego just got off of a series with the Dodgers. A little bit of a hangover, possibly. But Ross isn't much of a K guy. He is a minus 118 favorite. Just a 4.5 on his K prop. But I would think that Perez and Ross could be kind of fill-ins to make my 8-man pitching pool or so. I think we're still waiting on the White Sox to name a starter. At least I haven't seen one. DraftKings doesn't have one listed yet. Um, Trying to scroll through. Well, Nick Nastrini is projected to start. I'm gonna guess he's not in the player pool. Uh, Going down a little bit, we'll get to the bottom of the pitcher pool. I don't really see much to like. I've been impressed a little bit by Ben Brown, but they're not letting him go super deep. But it's also Arizona, and I like the D-backs offense quite a bit, just in general. Adrian Hauser might be a guy that people sneak in. I can understand it, but he hasn't looked spectacular by any means. More walks than strikeouts through 2 starts. For that, with him being the slight favorite, maybe people are going to sneak him in. I'm just going to stick to the Joe Ross and Martin Perez area. Um, Maybe a Ross Stripling, but I just don't really want to rely on an ace pitcher. I think he's slightly below average overall, so I think that puts him in play at times at 6K, but I just don't think it's going to be today. My guess is my lowest price pitcher is going to be one of these two up here. Um, but that obviously can change as the day goes on, as we get more information, and especially when lineups come out. If guys are sitting for whatever reason, I might be able to move a pitcher up or down, just based on that. So there we have it. There's the first look at pitching for me. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, optimizer, Discord, etc., I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.